Hey guys, I just wanted to reach out to you and let you know that Surewinder is still selling amazing products. Some of you guys have been dragging your feet for whatever reason. If your shoulder hurts, do not waste time. Pull the trigger. I just bought 4 or 5 of them, and we had 2 guys out. You know how much it cost me to pay for 2 guys being out with bad shoulders? We just pulled the trigger and we said, listen, everybody's going to have one on a truck. It's mandatory. You got to use it. Don't hesitate. Don't wait till your guys go down. It's going to cost you more. Buy a Surewinder.
What's up, guys? Ryan with Torsion Talk podcast. And today we're going to be covering a topic that I think might ruffle some feathers, maybe even for my own staff if they listen to the podcast, which I know some of them do. But I'm really torn on a subject, and I think I've just gotten clarity that some of my insecurities have held me back in a very big way. And I've looked out in the landscape, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only ones or only one with this insecurity or issue that's projecting it onto other people. Let me explain. So if we roll it back and I go back to, guys, what do you think of the background? You like it? This is my new studio. If you guys are on our YouTube, we got a bunch of new YouTube subscribers. We were at the conference. Conference was excellent. Great job, IDA. I think you did a phenomenal job. This is one of the better ones that I've been to. Just want to give a shout out to them, everyone who contributed, all the volunteers, the staff. You guys did a great job. Thank you for welcoming us as a vendor to the conference. We have a massive amount of new business, new appointments, everything. I'm super excited about it. And we gave away a bunch of free gear in exchange for subscriptions on YouTube. It went really well. So I'm happy. All right. So I know there's some announcements and stuff, but I'm going to skip all that. This week, I want to focus on this in particular. I grew up for a majority of my life with a single mom who worked a lot. Fast forward to like 1999, 2000 range. One of my first like full-time gigs was working at a car dealership. With that comes long hours. And there's a direct correlation between how many people you talk to and how many sales you have. So it's a numbers game. And because you can't automatically create more customers while you're there, you can. I'm having a flicker and that's driving me crazy. I gotta get a light fixed. You can create more hours. So if you're there longer or you're there more, then it'll definitely help you out. I'm going to change my screen. Oh my God, that's driving me nuts. So with that being said, I learned that I'm willing to work harder and more than anybody else. We're still getting used to the new pod room, the new studio. All right. So I just learned that the more I work, the harder I work, the more money I'd make, the better off we'd be. So that plays out in every area of my life going forward. I saw it from my mom. I saw it from one of my first jobs. And when we're looking at this and trying to evaluate, I think I had a really big loss. I'm not sure if I've shared some of this stuff with you guys on the podcast or not, but I'm going to get a little bit vulnerable for just a second because I feel like I got to go there so that I can make the connection for you guys, because I have spoken to some of y'all and you guys have some similarities with this. And I'm not sure if you guys have dealt with the tragedy that I dealt with, but you have described an overcompensation for it, right? And you apply that to everybody. So I'm like 20 years old, just figuring out life, just getting my stuff together, doing things legitly. If you want to listen to my testimony, I do have a podcast where I talk about my testimony, but this in particular was pretty devastating for me. I was at work late selling a car. I got a phone call from a police officer, a detective for Gwinnett County. It went something like this. I answered the phone. He's like, "Hey, is this Ryan?" I said, "Yes." He said, "This is Detective Linder, Gwinnett County Police Department. Uh, I'll leave her name out, but your girlfriend's been in an accident, and we need you to come to the hospital." So I obviously drop everything, tell my customer that my girlfriend's in the hospital. I've got to leave, so I jump in my car and I fly to the hospital. When I get there, they bring me into like a little waiting room and interrogate me, um, asking me all kinds of questions. So I knew this wasn't like an accident. This was something different. And when I told him, I said, "Look, I appreciate you guys, whatever you're doing right now, but I'm not okay. And I need to know that she's okay. And that I'd like to know what's going on." And they proceeded to tell me that she was raped and attacked with a box knife, particularly around her neck. I think he's mentioned 18 times cut. And that the only reason that she was alive is by the grace of God because he missed like main artery like 2 or 3 times by like a centimeter or less, like fraction. I easily blamed, well, I blamed a lot. I blamed a lot, right? Because this is at a point in time in my life where I was just getting things together. I had changed my life. I was a really bad person doing some bad things. And I felt like I had turned the corner and things were starting to go well for me. I had had a lot of tragedy in my past, my best friend being gunned down in the street, uh, me holding a girl while she was foaming at the mouth and overdosing in the back of a random pickup truck while all her friends fled and police and ambulance and fire truck show up and I'm the only one that stayed with her, some random stranger, and I had to watch the light in her eyes go out. So I'd had a lot of tragedy happen to me, but this one rocked my world because I felt like I should have been there and I could have protected her. And it changed the way I viewed work because when something tragic like that happens, you feel like your priorities change. So here I am figuring out life, been through tons of trauma already, 20 years old, right? Some of it self-inflicted, just being in wrong places that I probably shouldn't have been in anyway, but I knew right then that it was gonna be hard for me to go back to work, especially working long hours, but I did it anyway. Her and I eventually got married, and it did not work out. And I know that, like, I stayed in the car business. As a matter of fact, I got promoted into finance. And if you know anything about finance in a car dealership, it's like you're turning the key in the morning, you're turning the key at night. So not only did I kind of ignore those ideals of that I kind of had during the trauma, but I even added to it and made it worse. So as I matured and got older and we got divorced and I started reflecting on things, I left and started my own business eventually, obviously. If you listen to this podcast, you know I started Aaron Overhead Doors in 2015, a garage door company with 4.5 days of training and little to no knowledge of the garage door industry, which now 26, 27 employees total. But I tried to give my employees, even when I was in leadership at it, working as an employer, like an employee, but I was a manager and I was managing people. I would try to make sure that there was balance, meaning that I always wanted my people to have a life and that life should be fulfilling and spend time with family and do all the things that are really important to you and your family, that if you were fired today or you lost your health today, that you wish you would have done. That is through the mind of someone who is crippled, injured, like emotionally, because there is a large amount of people in the world who get a great amount of satisfaction from being a part of something spectacular. And when you think about things like that, nothing happens spectacularly between 9 and 5, Monday through Friday. Like, there's probably very few, if any, businesses where you did like that exploded and just did really well, where everyone had a 9 to 5 position. And you know what? I don't blame people. It's okay. I don't have a problem with people wanting to work 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. There's nothing wrong with that. Please don't hear what I'm not saying. What I am saying is, I've come to the conclusion that if I ask my team, like when I'm hiring somebody now, like I'm adding things into the interview where it's like, hey, if we hit a rough patch, and I ask you to work 7 days a week for the next 3 weeks, what are you going to say? Because if your answer is, it depends, I'll need to shuffle my schedule or whatever, then I'm probably not hiring you. And I know that's disgusting. Like, that's awful because you're like, oh, well, they got to have a personal life. I understand. I agree. But if we're in trouble, I want you bought in. I want to know that if I'm charging the hill, I don't even have to turn around. I know you're there and we're going to go crush it. That's what I need to know. And listen, people will rally around you if they know that you care about them in all the ways, but there are people who want to work harder. And I've found that out because when my mind shifted recently, like probably, a year ago, and I started thinking about, we really have never worked on Saturdays. I mean, we did when I was in the field, but when I got out of the field, like I was so concerned about guys spending time with their family on Saturdays or missing ball games or this and that. And that is true. Like I still care about those things. There's that is still a concern. But at the same time, working that Saturday means a lot for the company. And if you genuinely care, then you'll be there. As a business owner, I work 7 days a week. 7 days a week. There's very rarely that I don't do some sort of work every day of the week, at least. Even on vacation, a lot of times I'm working. I'm working early in the morning before everybody wakes up. It's kind of whatever it takes. And particularly because I own 4 or 5 businesses, it's even more so. But it's shown its face more recently where I've had employees who have come to me and told me that they want more stuff to do. They're willing to work harder, they're willing to give more. Shame on me for not recognizing that sooner and challenging my people. I would rather pull people back than push them forward. And so for people to have been willing to work on Saturdays for a long time and maybe even Sunday or at night, that means the world to me. But I failed them. I failed me. I failed my family. I failed myself because here's where I messed up. I put limitations because I was viewing the world, I was viewing the workplace through the lens of a hurt and broken emotionally man, and I was portraying that onto my business and onto my team. But you really don't know what you can accomplish until you're tested or given an impossible task. And if I give an impossible task, the right answer that I'm hoping for is I'm going to do my best to make this happen.
Hey guys, I found something that changed my business and I want to share it with you. We've created packages that have included some of the best products in our industry to offer our service customers. The heart of that package is Stealth Hardware Kit. Stealth Hardware is the quietest hinges on the market. I challenge you to buy at least one of these, test it for yourself. Put it on your truck and design a quiet performance package for your customers willing to pay for a better, smoother running door. Buy your Stealth Hardware Kit at Service Spring, do a search for Quiet Hinge, and then buy that. You can buy a double or single door, 7 or 8 foot tall, and promise you it'll change your service forever.
Somer USA and Somer Group want to thank you for an incredible year and the trust you put in them and their products. As you know, Somer places high value on relationships, education, customer service, innovation, and professionalism. And they are grateful to you for your part in the fostering and dissemination of these values. If there is any way Somer can support you in your journey, whether through their products, the values they hold to, or the knowledge Somer has gained through interaction with door dealers across the world, please reach out to the team at your convenience. They are here to serve you. Again, thank you from the entire Somer team. Check them out at somerusa.com. Tell them Ryan sent you.
It's going to be hard. It's impossible. There's no way. But what if you fail, but you get it 90% of the way there? You probably got it further than you would had in that time period than if I would have given you an extra 30 days. I think about interviews. I've mentioned this before, but interviews with Elon Musk where he does things, even the president, their CEO of Nvidia has mentioned that some of the things he's done is virtually impossible in the time frames that he's accomplished it. Like setting up the servers and everything for AI to launch Grok. I think that was what he was talking about. He literally said it was impossible. No one else in the world could do it. He didn't do it himself. He rallied troops, sold his vision, and gave a deadline with expectations of what he was wanting. The difference is he had people who may have sat there and been like, this is virtually impossible, but it's going to be fun trying. And that's where I think the difference is, because if we set unrealistic expectations, we give our team an opportunity to excel and do something really special. So, a couple things I think need to happen. Number one, you have to recognize them when they do that. Number two, you have to appreciate them always. And number three, if you fall short and you don't hit the goal, you don't hit the deadline, I don't think you come down hard. I think you sit down and you realize how tough it was, and you say, "Guys, how did we miss it? Where did we miss it? Walk me through it. This is for next time, not for this time. This is for next time." It's for next time because you may be okay failing again and given that same challenge, or you may want to adjust. It's not for reprimanding, it's for educational purposes. It's for being understanding, hearing the team out who's working on the impossible project. And you know what? I think we should go back and make another impossible project again after failing. I just don't want to settle for anything less than greatness. And I think it starts with waking up early and getting started, preparing and getting after it, but not limiting your team and what they're willing to accomplish. I would much rather have a conversation with somebody who comes to me and says, "Man, I'm burnt out. I need another day off." Than for someone to come to me and be like, "Yo, bro, can I not come in because I don't really have anything to do today?" Those are two extreme opposites. Which one would you rather have? If I'm an employee and I work for the guy who doesn't have enough work, I'm sitting here questioning myself like, what are we doing? Why am I here? If I'm talking about the other guy who's burned out, I can fix that. Here's a gift card to a steakhouse. Take your wife out to dinner. Be back on Wednesday. Appreciation, acknowledgement. You tell them, you know what, you've been working your ass off, bro. I got you. Maybe even if you're super engaged and you got a really good team, you're evaluating and seeing that happen before it happens and you proactively do it. That would be cool. Why not, right? And you know what? People get burnt out when they feel like they're not compensated enough or appreciated enough for the effort they're putting in. When that balance is off, people get burned out. If they're having fun and they're getting paid and feeling like they're compensated properly for the effort they're giving, they're a lot less likely. I would even venture to say they will not get burned out. And I have been on a wild ride where I worked in software and I was the first salesperson and we ramped up 25 people nationwide and went from like under a million in revenue to 25 million in annual revenue very fast. And we all worked like dogs. That's what I was used to when I came over to garage door started my garage door company. I was used to working like a dog. I was used to employees working like dogs. I was used to being in meetings, speaking what I wanted to happen, and it would happen. As a leader, is that what you're getting? I know this sounds very difficult, and I'm not trying to say that I want my team to be like slaves. I'm literally paying them. It's an exchange of goods and services. And what I'm saying is, I'm saying that I think I've hired some amazing people who want to be part of something great that's never been done before, and we're limiting the possibilities. And I could probably say that for all of my businesses. And some people look at me and think, oh, we're freaking crushing it and we're hardworking and all this stuff. And some of that is true. But if we get a gut check, Like, I'll tell you right now, man, like Mark Annuity, we had we lost a really good team member, and Cass has stepped up. She's punching stress in the throat. That's what I'm talking about. Putting in the work, getting it done, making it happen when there's no one else to do it. And not complaining about it, having a good attitude. And we took care of her. Like, we've done something nice for her. And hopefully it's been taken care of before she hears this podcast, if she listens to it. But we recognized it and we proactively did something for it. All I'm saying, leaders, business owners, all I'm saying is I think it's really important that you look at yourself and you say, hey, listen, am I willing to put in the work? Am I burnout? Am I paying myself enough? Are we charging enough? Have I hired people and set the expectations that we're going to be chill? Or have I hired people who we've set the expectations that we're going to grind and we're going to do the impossible and we're going to stretch the limits of reality? Because that sounds fun to me. And yes, as I get older, I am not working at the pace that I used to. I'm just going to be real with you. Putting in 80, 90, 100 hours a week is not an option for me anymore. 60, 70, I'm pulling that off. But I imagine in 10 years, it's going to be 40 or 50. But I'm tired of settling on the dreams that I have. I'm going to take more risk and I'm going to do more things, and I'm going to push my team to be greater and do greater. And the people who want to be part of that will be part of something that people will talk about for a very long time. I still hear from people that worked with me in the software industry because it was such a wild ride and we had such a good time and it was so incredible, such an amazing, I mean, you get to be part of something like that sometimes once in your life if you're lucky. And we all talk about it. And we will continue to talk about it for the rest of our lives because it was one of the greatest things that doesn't get talked about by the industry or whatever, but we had a blast. And yes, we missed some of our kids' stuff. And yes, we traveled so much that we missed our spouses, but we had purpose and we had drive and excitement and we were inspired and motivated. So my question to you as a business owner is, do you inspire? Are you inspired? Are you motivated? Because if it's hard for you to get up out of bed and go into the office, then it's going to be like that for everybody else. So I'm challenging you this week to dig deep, look inside. Do you want to just settle for the status quo, or do you want to push hard and find people who are willing to go the distance at whatever it takes, just because they love the thrill of the game? Those are the people you need. We tend to call them A players. These are good questions for all of us. Be blessed. Have a great week.